All right, it is time to fertilize the seedlings. Okay, I fertilize them. I try to do with every watering right now. Um, but sometimes you can go a little bit longer depending on which veggies you got. But I wanted to go over the mix we use here. All right, this is just a 1 gallon sprayer. All right, and this is fish hydrolysate, not emulsion. Okay, emulsion needs time to break down and then it releases the nutrients. Okay, this has already been broken down with all of the proper enzymes, so this is actually a ready to go fertilizer. So it's in a form that the plants can immediately suck up through the roots. Okay, the next thing I use is humic acid and a seaweed mix. All right, and I like the humic acid because the humic acid in the soil, it allows the microbial growth to break down the nutrients. Okay, it's very important. You know, they get a lot like through like peat fields and stuff like that. It's loaded with humic acid. Okay, humic acid is extremely important. It's a great source of carbon. Okay, carbon is super important. And then the next thing is sugar, blackstrap molasses. Okay, this doesn't give any nutrients to the plant, but what it does is it feeds all of the microbes. Those microbes are going to eat the sugars. Okay, and what that will do is that will help them survive and mass produce so that there are more bacterias breaking down the mineral for the plants to use. Okay, that's an important step. But here, let's get to the mixing here. And always, I just pre-shook all these. And when you do it, you should probably make sure the lid's tight because I did not, and I wasn't covered in it, and I smell like a dirty little fish oil. All right, so I only use about between 1 and 3 ounces per gallon. So we're just going to eyeball, call it about 2 ounces there. Okay, and then we put the lid back on her. Now we use the humic acid in the same ratio here, about 1 to 3 ounces per gallon. And you can't overdo none of these. Okay, like even the fish hydrolysate, like I guess in extreme cases, if you flood a field, it could cause damage, but none of this stuff should ever burn any of your plants. I mean, I'm using them on seedlings right now. If I was afraid that it would burn my plants, I would not use this. But we want just about, I'd say about 1 ounce. Some sticky shit. Sticky. Like here, it's like, looks like used motor oil, but it's just molasses. That's the sugar form. And then all I do is I do a foliar spray. Okay, I already had water in there, and so now I'm gonna close this up, and I got to give it a good shaking. Let's make sure that thing is tight. Got to make sure it's mixed up. Okay, so now let's pump this. Okay, grab my wand and then I'll show you here. Let's go. All right, and I fertilize everything on this table here. Okay, and I got to adjust that. That's better. We want just like you see that fine mist? That's all we want. We just go up and down each tray. Same thing, everything. Everything gets a nice, you see how it's, okay, nice steady. It's not puddling on the dirt, okay? It's enough to give the surface of it just a nice little saturation of nutrients. That's all it is. Okay, and then once I get done spraying all of the trays here, I water them. All right, it's not going to hurt the leaves, but I don't want the molasses to dry on there just because it could increase bug intensity. Okay, because it's sweet. So after I'm done fertilizing everything, I go ahead and I water it, and I do this just about every watering, maybe every other watering. All right. So that's the hot tip today. Happy farming, y'all. Later.